What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. We've got another video for you guys today. We're going to be reviewing the Harbor Freight Hercules 5-inch 3-amp multiple speed random orbital sander. Now, a lot of you guys might be familiar with a DA, an air powered sander, but it's always a constant battle with air pressure. So I've been wanting to try an electric plug-in style random orbital sander for quite some time now, so we went ahead and picked this one up. The one we have in front of us today is a HE011. This is the 3-amp multi-speed version. They do have another one that looks very close to this one, but it actually has a smaller amp motor, and it also does not have multiple speeds. We do have a bunch of different grit sanding discs for this machine. I was trying to keep it all Hercules sanding discs, but our local Harbor Freight has a huge selection of Hercules in 6-inch, but they didn't have a very big selection in 5-inch, so we've got some Bauer and some Hercules over here. We're going to be trying this out on some wood, some painted metal surfaces, and of course this carbon fiber hood. We're going to be completely resurfacing this carbon fiber hood in another video, so if that's something you guys would like to see, make sure to stick around and subscribe so that you get notified when we post that video. Let's get through the intro and jump right into today's video. Now that we've gotten through the intro, let's go ahead and clear our table or our hood off here and get this box opened up and see what all this comes with. I also do just want to take a second and mention to you guys, if you would like any bought to build merch, whether it's a sweatshirt, keychain, stickers, anything like that, please shoot me a message on the Bought to Build official Instagram page and we will get you set up. We are working on a website, so if you guys have any recommendations, feel free to shoot them my way. boughttobuild@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and get this thing cleared off, open this up, and see what all we've got in the box. I know a lot of you know that I'm not a huge unboxing fan, so we're going to kind of just jump right through this. But obviously we've got the sander right here, nice quality. It seems pretty hefty. It's a little on the heavy side, and it's a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be, but all in all seems like pretty decent quality. Does have the 6-speed dial right here on the side that clicks nicely, so that should work out pretty well for us. We can set that aside, open up the rest of this thing, see what else we've got in the box. Got the user manual. Looks like it comes with a few 60 grit sanding discs. Guessing this is going to be the dust collection piece. Seems like decent quality. Little clip. Unlock and lock. Let me just lock it like so. And I believe it just clips right on. Yeah, just like so. Looks like a decent length power cord. We'll probably still grab an extension just because, make our life a little bit easier. It's actually a rather decent extension cord. It's actually a rather decent cord that it comes with here. Decently flexible, it seems like. And I believe it said it was 10 feet. So that's actually not bad. Pretty happy with that. A lot of times they come with little 3-4 footers and it's just a pain, but that seems decent. So let's go ahead and get a disc thrown on here and give this thing a shot. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got our sander out. We just plugged it in for the first time, and we're going to go ahead and power this thing up. I want to see how loud or quiet it is. This one is the model with the 6-speed adjustable dial on the side here. Clicks nice and firm, seems like it's going to lock in, and it does seem like it's going to be out of the way of your thumb. So I actually think, it says it's a 6-speed, but I think there's actually more speeds than that. I'm going to go ahead and count the clicks of the dial. So we're on 1, 2, 10, 11. So there's actually 11 clicks. Now, does each click do something? I'm not entirely sure, but I do believe on the package it was advertised as a 6-speed. So that's kind of interesting. I do like the adjustability and speed. For today's project, or the beginning of this video, we're going to be using it on the lower speed, and we're going to start off by trying it on this carbon fiber hood here. Like I already mentioned, refinishing this hood will be in a separate video, but we're going to use it for some testing. Figured it would be a good project to use the sander on to get a good feel for it and get some time using it and see how I really feel about this thing. I can say right off the bat, it does feel a little bit on the heavy side, but we'll have to wait and see how that turns out for us. Most of the time, the weight will be rested on your item you're working with anyways. We're going to start off on the hood here, and then eventually we will move over to some wood and then some painted metal and see how well it does there. So let's go ahead, put a piece of paper on this thing and get to work. All right, so we taped off a nice area here to start so that we can get used to the tool, the material, and the thickness of the clear gel coat here. Alright guys, so I wanted to take a break from the carbon fiber hood for a little while. We'll get back to it at the end of the video, but I wanted to take this break and try the sander out on a couple different types of material. So we've got some painted steel, some aluminum, and some wood here. Now this is highly going to come down to the type of paper and the grit of sandpaper that you're using, but we're going to start off with the 320 grit with the aluminum and the painted steel. And then we'll try some 60 grit on the wood, and we might also try 320 grit on the wood. So I just want to see how this thing's going to work. Again, it's going to highly come down to the type and grit of paper that you're using, but I just want to see how I like this sander for working with numerous types of materials. So let's go ahead and get set up and give this thing a try. So we've got a piece of 320 grit sandpaper on our sander here, and we're going to start off with the aluminum. And we're just going to see how the sander does at cleaning up edges where I've cut and drilled holes and things like that, as well as I'd like to see how it takes off some of this oxidation. So I want to see how this will work for doing that. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. We're going to start off on the low speed, and we might work our way up depending on how it goes. Again, like I said, guys, it's going to highly come down to the pad that you're using. You could also be wet sanding to help keep from gumming up your sanding discs. But honestly, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'd much rather work with something like this than what it was looking like before over here. So that's definitely a win in my book. Around the holes that we have drilled, it's super smooth now. Nice clean edges. Definitely happy with that. I want to see what it's going to do over here where this edge is a little bit more messed up. So let's go ahead and give it a shot there. Got a little bit carried away with that one just because it was working so well, but it actually works exceptionally well. Cleans these holes up really nice and the edges. I wanted to see how good it was going to work on a smaller piece of material like this. I'm used to working with big sheets, but sometimes you have a small piece, even smaller than this sometimes, and it can be awkward to use in the belt sander or with a die grinder or anything. This actually seemed to work really well. The piece wasn't trying to fly around on me or get out of control or anything. I could literally set it down and I didn't even need to hold it. So that's super nice to see. Now let's go ahead and switch our disc out, move on to some of that painted steel and see how it does on that. We've got a piece of our painted steel up here. It's an awkward shape to work with. I want to see how the sander is going to react to trying to clean up a piece like this. I did not change our disc yet. I want to see how it's going to work. If I do feel like I need to change it because this one's like worn down from the aluminum or gummed up, I will, but I think it should be all right. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Well guys, I have to say I am actually extremely impressed. So far, I really like this thing, and I think it's going to be my new go-to for cleaning up parts, even if they're smaller parts. This thing was able to get right around this rounded edge right here, and it's super easy to work with. It's basically effortless. You don't have to put in much thought or effort into controlling the tool. This thing kept the workpiece nice, steady, and in a controlled fashion. I think it worked exceptionally well for what we're trying to do here. So super happy with it as far as cleaning smaller parts, aluminum or painted steel. Took the paint right off of this thing super fast, even with that 320 grit. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. That would work phenomenal for getting this piece sanded down and ready for paint, or for welding or whatever we need to do with the item at hand. So super happy with that. We can go ahead and set this to the side. I am going to throw the 60 grit sandpaper onto the sander, and we're going to give this box a try. This is a super old box that's been sitting out back in our scrap pile for quite a while. So I want to throw some 60 grit on it and give the sander a try on here and see what it does to one of these pieces of wood. So let's get set up and give it a shot. That came out really smooth, guys. I'm really impressed with how this sander is working. It's super easy to work with. You can get the rounded edges. You can't get in the corners, obviously, but they make a corner sander for that. But all in all, this thing is doing great. It's smoothing this right out, and for how old this box is and how beat up this wood is, I'm really impressed with how well this came back. I would actually almost like to clear it. It's got a cool patina look to it, so might end up hanging on to it for something. But honestly, this sander is working phenomenal. I can't believe how well it's working. A lot of it comes down to the paper that you're using, but your hands don't get tingly after using it. I'm curious to see how I feel, or if I feel the same way after hours of straight using it on that carbon fiber hood. So curious to see how I land there, but as of right now, my hands feel perfectly normal. Usually after using a sander for a while, your hands get like tingly or like numb almost. But super happy with how that's working. I have noticed a little bit of dust in here. I think most of it came from the wood itself. I don't think I remember noticing it when we were doing the metal or aluminum, so I think a lot of it came from the wood. And I did notice some buildup around the outlets of the fans here. Nothing crazy, but just a little bit extra buildup with the wood that I've noticed, more so with the wood than I've noticed with other materials. So I'm also curious to see if the dust collection system has picked anything up. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what it looks like. It looks like it caught quite a bit of stuff in here. let me just grab a piece of paper and I'll dump this out so we can see how much is actually here. Let's see how much comes out of this thing. Holy crap. And there's still a bunch more dust in there that I'd have to like blow out probably. But for that small of an area, I am extremely impressed with how much this thing collected. That's pretty cool to see. So all in all, guys, I'm really super happy with this thing. It's a perfect tool for doing things around. I definitely think that I'm going to start using it more for working on small metal pieces and fabrication stuff, or prepping stuff for paint. So let's go ahead and get back to me sanding the carbon fiber hood and see how I feel about this thing after a few hours of continued use. Alright guys, so at this point in the video, I have hours of running this sander, and so far I'm still really happy with it. We have been running 320 grit on this for hours now, sanding this whole hood, which like I mentioned, you will see in another video. But as you can see, I've put this thing through a ton of use. So after doing our tests on the wood and some painted metal, all in all, I have to say this thing has been a great little sander. You can't beat the price. You can get them on sale right at your local Harbor Freight, so it's hard to beat that. You can get the sanding disc for them anywhere. The sanding discs stick to them extremely well. They almost stick too good sometimes when you go to peel them off, but in a lot of situations you're going to be happy that they stick as good as they do, instead of having to worry about them coming off or dealing with the stick-on style. So I do like the hook and loop design of these. I think it works exceptionally well. Also, after using this thing for hours, and I mean hours, I use this thing pretty much all day today and a couple hours yesterday doing this hood, and my hands didn't get tingly really at all. Like, you still knew you used the sander, but usually my hands would be like numb after this much time using this thing, and they honestly felt completely fine last night. They feel completely fine now. Like I said, it did get really dusty in here, but I think the dust collection system did a pretty good job as well. So all in all, I would definitely recommend this thing. I like the adjustable speeds. I actually tried them all out, and I think it's a great asset to have in this tool. They have another one just like this that's 2.4 amps that does not have the speed adjustability, and I'm glad that I picked the one that did, because using it, especially on this hood, but on other things as well, having the speed is a nice option. You can get into tighter spots, not have to worry about nicking things as much, but the thing just works really smooth. It travels wherever you want. It doesn't really wander. It's pretty quiet for what it is, and it also does not vibrate nearly as bad as I would expect for a sander that does this good a job. So all in all, if you guys are looking for a random orbital sander, I would definitely recommend this one. It works phenomenally, doesn't vibrate like crazy. The hook and loop style attachment system works great. The dust collection system works alright. I wouldn't say it's phenomenal, but it works pretty decent for a sander in this budget. Very budget option, and so far we haven't been able to kill it, and I've ran this thing for hours. So as always, I appreciate you guys for checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell, and also give us a follow on TikTok and Instagram at BoughtToBuildOfficial. We will catch you on the next one.